to be with our county, dear Lord, and the sick and the ones that's shut in and the ones in the hospital. Lord, just give them strength, comfort, and encouragement, dear Heavenly Father. Be with the families of the lost ones, Lord, that we've had in the recent days, Lord. We asked you, Lord, just to be with us in this meeting. We asked you, Lord, just to lead us and guide us, dear Heavenly Father. And we thank you, Lord, for your grace that you bestow upon us, dear Lord. And we thank you, Lord, for our soldiers, men and women fighting for our freedom where we could be here this evening, dear Heavenly Father. And I asked you, Lord, just to watch over us, forgive us for our sins, dear Heavenly Father. We pray you, dear Lord. We never fail to give you all the praise, honor, and glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Begin with our roll call. Please check in the automated system. Press confirm. Okay, we have 14 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum. In keeping with our commitment to the public, we'd like to open the floor for public comment for anybody that'd like to address the County Commission.
Hello, I'm Nancy Lee. I met with you all at the last workshop. I was just wondering if y'all had come to any conclusions about what we were going to do concerning my property and stuff, or do we need to seek legal action? I think that's something that was supposed to be put on the agenda. I don't know if it is. I didn't see it.
Nancy, I contacted the builder. I don't have a resolution for it, but we are committed to finding a solution to the problem, but we don't have it yet. Any other commissioners? Ralph, anything on your end?
Well, I read the contract on the contractor's bond, and it's not to be released. All debts are paid and all issues. That's on the contract that I got an email from that. So bond until all issues are taken. So that clarify. Can y'all hear me? That should clarify before the. I don't have anything there. That in the bond, sir? Yes, sir. I've read the bond. I mean, is that, am I quote it right, or am I mistaken?
The bond is there to guarantee performance of the terms of the contract.
And it also states on there if there's any problems occur that it could be an issue took care of.
Any covered issues.
Right.
Has to be covered.
Any damages, yeah. I didn't bring it with me. It's on my email. So.
Well, Mayor, they know they've had this problem. So I think the only recourse that we have is to hold their bond and let them take care of the problem that they indeed created. So somebody told me that they was wanting to blame it on one of their subcontractors, but they're responsible for them also, I'm sure. So they know this problem is lying out there. Let them take care of it, and then we can discuss their bond or turn it loose or whatever.
I'll present that to them.
But I think the question Ms. Lees asked, is the county commissioners going to hold them responsible and make sure their damages are taken care of? What are we going to do? I think I believe that's what she asked. I mean, I know,
Well, if you're going to withhold a bond, you're going to require the builder to do it,
right,
is the way I understand it.
okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. But if he don't get his bond back, is that right?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay. I'm good.
All right, any further discussion on that? I'm sorry, Nancy Kipp, I don't have a resolution yet, but that's what I will take to the builder. Does anyone else wish to address the commission? Okay, with that, I'll open the floor for a motion for approval of previous meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the previous minutes.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Orick, second Commissioner Davis, Jennings.
either one.
Any discussion? Commissioner Davis?
We have it's printed a word on the emergency management meetings. They have it that the mayor is digging bears. It needs to be changed to, unless you want to give up your seat.
We can change it.
Okay. And then I got one more on the building permits. I got one more on the building permits. I may be ignorant on this, but I'm going over, do we charge building permits for a family to re-roof their own house?
I don't know the answer to that.
I know Jellicoe does it. You know, that if you've got to do manicure to your house, you know, if they let it fall down, then we send them a condemn letter saying, if you don't fix it up, we're going to take it. So how can we do both? But they, you know, I don't know.
If you get a contractor, I'd say you would.
Building permit has to increase the square
I
footage.
ain't never got none. I ain't never got none.
The building permits are required if you increase your square footage by a minimum amount. I believe it was 60 or 90 square feet. So if
Okay,
you're not changing your square footage,
Well, if I may, I mean, if you send me this, I'm looking over. Building permit, roof, address, it's, is it all right if I mention the person's name, or? I mean, okay.
public input.
William White, 257 Coleman Lane, La Follette, Tennessee. They had to buy a building permit just to assist to roof their house. I mean, if they ain't supposed to, we shouldn't be charging them a permit just to assist for roofing, same address. So that's what that means.
Who would have told them they had to?
Pardon?
Is this on the agenda?
Would it be an addition?
No, it just says roof the house. You know, here you got some that says new additions, mobile homes, new houses. This one just says to roof the same address.
Unless they're re-roofing and adding on, I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't state that. It just says,
Can I add something?
Certain.
If they, for any reason, have utilities changed or added, they're required to have a building permit, or if the utility company won't
Could be that.
and install the utilities.
well, no, but this just says
Well, I don't know.
the person wants,
I don't know.
the permit is for roofing their house. I mean,
She's
that's-
saying if you're in the roofing, if the weatherhead has to be moved or the electrical, if the electrical has to be changed or moved and you got to disconnect it and reconnect
Well,
it.
I mean, it doesn't say all that. I just why I want to
Well, it
know.
wouldn't say that in there, but there's a possibility that's the case.
Just call and find out.
But we don't know that.
Sometimes people, they'll just want to get away to be on the safe side. You know, that's not that.
And that's a county one, it's not the state.
This is county.
1150 is on.
This is 1150 and they just driven.
Well, I know it's only 1150, but my point is, a lot of people pay enough,
That's true.
and if they don't have, it's fine if they want to, but we ought to say you don't have to have a permit to roof your house and not charge them. Some people don't know. I just saw that and I thought I would mention it that if,
Sometimes I've had them say, well, we'll just get one of them.
well,
I don't know if that's the case with that one.
well, I don't either, that's why I asked. Because the manicure of your home is to be fixed it up. So, I'm sorry, that's good.
Is there an appeals process if we've incorrectly charged someone?
Well, if they came in and requested it, you didn't incorrectly charge them. because that's their request, it's not
Right.
a requirement for me.
He can call the individual and ask him.
I'm fine, I just,
Well, that's a different situation,
right,
not common, so.
okay, I'm good.
You don't want mine.
Okay, any other discussion on the approval of previous meeting minutes?
That's the minutes that's concerning Board of Commissioners workshop, right?
Commissioner Orr?
That is the minutes concerning the commission workshop, right? That's what we're going over.
Yes. Previous meeting minutes.
The first one.
From January.
Right.
Yes. Any other discussion? Okay. Please press yes or no and confirm. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Motion passed. Notary applications. We did. Okay, on the renewals, those stand as were stated at workshop, correct? Okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the renewals.
Motion to approve the notary renewal, Mr. Chair.
Motion Commissioner Orick, second Commissioner Nance. Any discussion on the renewals? Seeing none, please press yes or no and confirm. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Motion passed. 15 yes. Okay.
You gotta read them. No? Oh, yeah. He's in-
We've got a new opinion from CTAS that said we don't have to read the vote. So, new notaries, actually, at workshop, we had 2 for consideration. We'll have to suspend the rules, consider any more. Right?
No.
No?
No, it's always an item agenda for
Okay.
notaries, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, at workshop, for those who may not have been here, we had Darrell Lynn Douglas and Pamela K. Brock. The list is expanded to Vicki Marlene Wilson and Cynthia Catherine Childs. I'll entertain a motion for approval on new notaries.
I so moved.
I have a motion from
Second
Commissioner
motion.
Goins, second Commissioner Orick. Any discussion? Please press yes or no and confirm on your machine.
Can we go back to the renewals one minute?
Discussion, Commissioner Nance?
Harold Brown, you think he's deceased?
Harold Arnold. I think that's the one there, across from Sis's Market, I believe.
Oh, is it?
I think it's a different one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I may be wrong, I think.
I'm thinking of that one off, Joe Comer.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please show the vote. We show 15 yes. Motion passed. Committee reports and minutes. Any questions on committee reports?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve the committee reports and minutes.
We have a motion by Commissioner Orick, second by Commissioner Bruce. Any discussion?
Including the handouts for tonight.
Including the handouts that you received in your packet. Okay, please vote yes or no. Press confirm on your machine. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Motion passed, 15 yes. Approval of the budget amendments and other funding resolutions.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve budget amendments 2.1 through 2.5.
Have a motion, Commissioner
I
Ord.
figured everybody won't take 2.6 up there.
Okay. Motion for 2.1 through 2.5. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Bruce, any discussion? Please vote yes or no and press confirm.
They are some educational. I think 2.1 is the only educational one.
Commissioner Bruce,
I'd like to state a direct conflict of interest that I vote.
so noted. Commissioner Davis?
Conflict of interest.
Okay, so noted. Commissioner Nance, so noted. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please show the vote. 15 yes, motion passed. I'll entertain a motion on 2.6.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve Resolution 2.6.
Have a motion, Commissioner Orrick. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Colmeyer? Discussion?
I think that they'd requested Mr. Marlowe to be here. I think, and
I thought that was 16.
What was the motion for? Approve 2.6.
2.6. Is that our 16 jail?
yes.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on
Is
it?
this on this work order?
Sorry?
Is this on this work order on the jail?
Is it on the recording?
Yeah, work order.
Yes, we're filming. So,
Change 2.6.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Change order?
Yes.
Mayor, is this a change order for the
This is.
last?
Yeah.
This is.
I'd like to make one statement. I'm going to vote yes for that, but I want the people to know that I don't want to. I think it is the contractor, the architect's responsibility to take care of this. And I really don't want to, but I'm going to, because the jail needs to be open. But I'm here to say that if something like this right here comes up again, Carl Douglas will not vote for it.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Nance?
Yes, I'd like to amend the motion because I had made a motion previously that we withhold the $32,000 until the leach issue was settled. And so what I need to amend that is for the county to give the leaches confirmation that their settlement will be taken care of either by the insurance company or the county. If this passes tonight.
I don't know what she said.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, thousand, never.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, I've got a motion and a second. We're in discussion. I've got an amendment proposal. Do I have a second on that
We'll just get it there.
motion? Mr. Davis?
All right, now, we're doing away with, we're going to vote them both at the same time?
We got to vote on the amendment
I
first.
think we've got to vote one before the other, but
Right, okay. Which one are we clearly voting for? The 30, the whole?
well, to discuss what Sue said, I need a second.
I'll say.
I have a second by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Attorney, how do we dispense with the motion within the motion?
You would, vote on the amendment first.
Okay. Okay, I'll take a vote on the amendment if there's no further discussion.
They're going to be, I'm sure, are there enough money in that, Jeff, to take care of that, the problem with the leach's property?
Not within our present appropriations for that project, but there are more than one way to address the leach situation. The first order of business would be to, as Ralph said earlier, to make a claim against the contractor through either their insurance and/or through their bond.
Which has occurred.
And/or through the final mechanism, which is to make a claim against the outstanding retainage. There's $370,000 worth of outstanding retainage in that project, so either of those three will give us a funding source non-county dollars. If it comes down to spot the road where that we want to utilize county dollars. And the figure is, last one the mayor told me about the $6,000.
It is, no, it was 6.
Okay, $6,000. Then we have some matching share funds that would be subject to amendment, but we have to make a budget amendment to provide those. And talk to the mayor about, also he had looked at some other things along Valley Street in addition to Hippie and Nancy situation. Grand total, I think he estimated somewhere around $15,000, and we have enough funds at our disposal to address all those if we get to that spot.
The other two issues that he's talking about is the pavement on the town of Jacksboro Street in front of the school board that took a beating when we hauled dirt out of here. And so there's a bad spot in the road. And then Pryor and Parrott attorneys have asked for consideration on their back parking that comes up to Valley Street. And I think it's in the range of $15,000 to address all of that.
In saying that, the paving will start at the Board of Education.
I think in order to cover all those, I think it should.
I'm not sure.
Question?
Mr. Davis.
I was reading over the contract, and there's so many thousands of dollars in our for blacktop out mixed paving already in the contract to be done. Where was that supposed to be?
Parking lot.
Just the parking lot?
Yeah,
Two
and
different
we have
places.
another, we've already engaged Rogers Street Commission took action last year, and we go from Paris Mains Lane up to the church. And the mayor's talking about going from the church all the way up to the intersection of Liberty Street.
Right. Mr. Higginbotham.
Hey, Jeff, do you have any idea if there will be another change order?
No more change order.
This will be the final change order, and the jail will be completed.
Correct.
Another question? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Jennings.
I just want to ask a question. If we vote on the change order prior to her motion and it's not part of it, then it makes her mute.
We'll vote on the amendment first.
Okay.
The amendment first.
Oh. So we're going to vote on the change order first?
No, the amendment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Amendment comes first. All right. Let's make sure.
And Cliff, she characterized her motion as if, in fact, it were approved, then these things you wanted to tie to it.
Okay, for my own sake, what was the original motion?
Motion was to approve Budget Amendment 2-6, which is the change order for number 16, and actually the money coming in from those entities too. There's money coming in from the architect and from the builder into that change order.
Well, I only have part of that in my packet. And I have seen someone else's, and the math don't add up.
Can I ask Mr. Marlowe a question?
Certainly.
Mr. Marlowe, here on the change order, it says the final cost is going to be $12,356,393.54. Is that correct?
Sure.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Now, over on the last page, it's saying the contractor's going to pay $51,000 some odd dollars. Architect is going to pay $49,000 some odd dollars. The county will be out to pay $32,000. Correct? Okay. Now, $49,000, $32,000 equals to $81,000 some odd dollars on this that we're fixing to bid. Total cost of contract extensions, $81,480. Should that be $32,000 instead of the $81,000?
No.
Why?
Because we have to appropriate the money received from the architect that increases the total project cost.
You have to receive it from him?
Correct.
Have we received it?
No, we will, when this is approved.
Once we approve.
Okay. Well, why did we not add the $51,000 is same as the contractor and put it up there?
Contractor reducing the cost by $51,000, eating it direct.
Okay. Then, I've added all these up. I'm not the smartest guy sitting up here, but if you add all these numbers up, it comes up to $142,000 and some odd dollars. Then if you subtract, go ahead.
132,527.91.
I checked my calculator.
You see those numbers that parentheses around the $1,067 and the $3,771? Those are deducts, not adds.
All right, you add all those up. It comes up to, I got it wrote down here, $142,203.91. You take number 3 and number 4, it adds up to $4,832. You subtract that from $142,000, and you get $137,365.91. So I went over that. I may have made a mistake, but there's... Pardon?
You have the calculator with you?
No. But the one I used, 2 and 2 was 4, and 6 and 6 was 12. But I mean, I added it up 4 times, and there's $4,some hundred mistaken in this one. I subtracted those 2.
You have to leave those out.
Well, you leave them out, and still don't add up.
No. If you go down this page and add these numbers up, I assure you they add 132,527.91.
All right. And one more thing. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but the way I figured this out, if we had that 81 and then given those 190 days, we're going to spend, we're giving up $194,482 for this change order. Is that correct?
No.
I mean, it's a dollar.
Are valued only at $600 a day as opposed to $1,000 a day.
You go 600 times 190 is $114,000. If you go 1,000 times 190, it's 190. Okay. I figured up 190 days times $600, $114,000. You add the 81,000 to it, then that's where I'm getting my numbers. I'm just misled that none of these figures to me is adding up.
The $81,000 includes the $49,000 change in the contractor in double county. So 114 plus 32 would be the exposure to the county.
So we're talking $143,000 is what this change order is costing the county instead of the $32,000 that's where it was led to be.
If you consider the value of those days being 100% applicable. We also know that 61 days would come off of the 180 days we calculated due to weather-related days. We can't charge them for those days.
Well, right here over on the change order, 18, 19, 20, well, there are 43 days that they're getting for this from September, October through. Besides and I don't want to be a throwing everybody's side, but explain why these blueprints was put out to bid, and the job started, and the architect the blueprints had never been certified by the fire marshal in the state of Tennessee. Why was that done? Because that changed the whole thing. The contractor told me it took 6 months for that to get done. So there's 6 months of your problem. It's being so long. There were 750 days to do the job. We're in our 1,400 and some day. I can understand a 2 or 3 months delay, and I went over and talked. Before I vote for something, I want to know I'm treating everybody fair. The electrician told me they had to revise the blueprints 141 times just for the electrical work. In this change order here, there's 6 for the electrical. One of them they're wanting us to pay $1,200 for, $1,200 and some odd dollars, is they put a receptacle in the wrong place, and we have to move it to the other side of the pit, and it's costing us $1,200 because the architect misdrew it and put it in the wrong spot. I'm just saying, this needs to change the way, when you start out, I've bidded many jobs, and they've been certified before you put them out. That's what looks like to me has changed it. Then you get halfway through it, and then y'all said the DA came in and was going to tear down the old building all at once and build it back. Well, they tell the contractor, you can't do that. The DA won't allow you. You have to do it in 4 sections. So that added another 6 months. I'm just trying to tell everybody where the times went. That's a year. 141 times the blueprints had to be revised for the electrical. The whole job was over 200 times. Now, you add 1 day to each one of them, there's another 6.5 months, maybe 8 months of time was added because the architect did not draw the building properly. Who certified these blueprints before they ever put out the bid? Did anybody revise them or approve them? Does the contractor or the architect, as the contractor, did he post a bond to back up his work? Yes or no?
To my knowledge, there's no bonding requirement associated with architectural work.
Well, how are we going to hold him responsible for stuff that ain't done right?
Well, he has insurance, and you can bring a suit against him. Today, if you include the $49,000 in this particular change order, the architect will have paid him $240,000.
Okay, that's a good number. Now, how much we paid him? How much? What he charged for the blueprints?
When they finish the project, he will have rebated approximately 40% of the fee.
That's what I asked you. I asked you, what did we pay him?
I'm trying to.
I won't be smart with you, but I like the questions I asked to be answered, not something else.
I'm trying to do the math in my head.
I asked, while you're thinking, I requested that we'd have in writing how much the contractor has been paid. To me, if I look at this contractor has been paid over $12 million. He hasn't. If we pay the architect out of that, or are we paying the architect another $1.5 million on top of the 12?
We're not paying him another $1.5 million, but his contract is not inside the construction contract dollars.
So you're saying what? We're spending.
I think, and I just don't remember the number right off the top of my head. I'm not trying to dodge your answer. All I did was analyze it for a comparative of how much you would have rebated back to us is roughly 40% from my recollection. And if it were half, would be 480. So I'm going to guess 600 grand, something like that.
If he's give back half, 480, then that would be that'd be 900,000, wouldn't it? If half
240 is what he'd give back.
If that's 40%, that leaves him about 360.
Yeah, so somewhere around 600.
But we've got to pay that on top of this 12 million.
Yeah.
See, nobody's told us that. You all know that?
Yeah, they all know.
I didn't. I mean, I just got here. Anybody else know that?
Yeah.
I did.
You all knew that? Well, I guess I'm the ignorant one up
There's
here.
never, the architectural contract is never included inside the construction contract, because that's directly to the contractor, that contractor.
Well, we've asked several questions up here. And when I asked you, I want to buy a car from, Scott, if I come up there to buy a car from you, and you tell me it's 40,000, and I get ready to leave, and I go, where's the wheels? Well, you didn't ask for no wheels. I wanted to buy a full, complete. So when we've asked you questions, and if you just answered them from day one, I wouldn't be up here upset today.
Ralph, I've tried to answer every question you've ever asked.
But you run around the building and rubbing your head and hollering, and you don't come out. A while ago, when I asked you, how much does the architect get? Well, he's give us back I didn't ask you what he give back. I'm just trying to be straight with me. I'm straight with you.
If I knew the number off the top of my head, I would tell you the
Jeff
number.
Marlowe, you got more numbers in your head. You know numbers better than anybody I know.
Well, I can't tell you that number because I honest to God don't know it. If you'll give me 5 minutes, I can go look it up for you.
I'll wait on it, but I don't think everybody else will. I'd like to know when we go on, okay? I want to know what the cost. Everybody here, to me, is thinking we're going to pay $12 million for this thing. But it's going to cost us $13 or $14 million. That's all I want to know.
It's not, Ralph.
Well, find out what it is.
The only cost that we have beyond the contractor is the architect.
But the point I'm trying to make out to everybody is, we're told if we pass this 16th change order, it's going to cost us $32,000.
That's correct.
But it's not. It's going to cost us as you said a while ago, $143,000.
it's going to cost us $32,000 because you have no guarantee as it relates to the liquidated damages amount that you're calculating as a foreshore number.
Right, and then we're giving them back 190 days off their...
But you're trying to say that the liquidated damages amount would be a foreshore in-hand number. And that isn't correct. In order to obtain that, you would have to go through a process of making a claim. Once you went through the process of making a claim, it'd have to be adjudicated. And they would come in, both sides, the architect, the contractor, and go before a mediator. And you got to the mediator, he would evaluate it, and the mayor has already agreed to, as he knows, a change order on a different project, which gave 61 days of weather-related days. And when we did our analysis, that 61 days and the value of the $600 being instead of $1,000, that was more than half the value gone off of our deal. Actually, 2/3 of the value gone right there. So when we got down to it being our best case, a third value remaining, then it was better to try to reach some type of settlement, at least from my position. And I think that your attorney will tell you that in almost any situation, the bird in the hand beats two in the bush. It's just, but so you can't place the value.
But we can't have a bird in the hand and somebody in the bush every time something comes up. I understand what you're saying.
Ralph, I think we were probably going to realize if it came down to just sheer dollars, somewhere on the order of 120, 140,000 in penalties, and then we take 40% out. The 61 days we granted at the airport because they couldn't excavate. It's the same days that they're talking about.
You brought up something that didn't have nothing to do with what I asked you.
But with what the reductions are, the net reduction from the architect and the builder's contribution, we were within $10,000, $15,000, and we would have not moved forward with the build in order to get to those penalty dollars. Commissioner Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I think by law, we are required to have architects on these jobs. Is that not correct? I mean, substantially. Yes. They are responsible. Everyone I ever dealt with is responsible for their blueprints. And I hope, and I'm going to make a motion later this evening, there's nothing worse than change orders as far as I'm concerned. And I said this at the workshop. I've been in politics 30 years, and I have yet to ever have one. And there's been how many on this? They say 16 now, but you said there's 200 and some.
Well, that's changing to the blueprints where they wasn't right.
Okay. We have to stop this some way or the other in the future. We shouldn't even be having these discussions for the simple reason that if somebody bids to do something for $1 million, that's what they're going to get. And we expect a finished product. It's just that simple. And I just, over the years, what I can tell, it's just my personal opinion, and I think we've been ripped off bad.
Commissioner Weldon?
A couple of questions. It has $10,000 for modifying wall finishes in the bathrooms. Was that just, can you briefly explain to me what that is?
Can't hear you. Can you turn the mic on, Lon?
My legal understanding on it is in the bathrooms that are in the area adjacent to the elevator down the hallway in front of going back into the new courtrooms, that that's the wall finishes that this addresses. And I'm not sure exactly what the item was that got left out or didn't get addressed in the original thing to equate to that item. One of the things that we did when we began to evaluate the change order 16 And this is different than maybe how some of you all would address it. The big material items in change order 16 are dealing with the glass and the electrical in the jail proper, and some changes for some controls on damper controls and some exhaust fans in the elevator. And a few more items that Steve had pointed out in his breakout that said these are items that have to be dealt with as it relates to either getting an operational safety issue in the jail proper, or to be in a position to get fire marshal to execute a certificate of occupancy. When you take all those into consideration, the remaining numbers are about $15,000.
Great, that's exactly where I wanted to go. If we requested, her request, what I look in here, they don't total $32,000. I know that we got to pay out.
Yeah, if you'll just let me finish my thought there. When we got the complete list, then we all sat down at the table, and everyone has known how much money that the county has. We have no additional money to throw at the project. We've had the same $33,000 carried over ever since the last item we addressed. And we sat down and began our negotiations around trying to address all the items. We wanted the electrical change in the jail. And the electrical change in the jail is not necessarily the same as the glass change in the jail, as it being that you can point to it being erroneous. It's an item that should have been done differently in our opinion, but we realized we had some level of cost associated with that particular item. The remaining items, the $15,000 items that you're talking about, we began to know we had to pay for those. And the electrical item, approximately half of that cost we settled on would be relative to us wanting to change, and the remainder being relative to them being the architect.
Can you give me some kind of reference as to what that is? The lighting.
In the areas where you have your dual level cells and you have catwalk, the circuitry for shutting down the lights at night caused it not to be in a position where the catwalk areas were as lit enough to where we wanted them to be better lit for a safety issue. That was the jail administrator and the sheriff's review. That isn't an error in the drawings for the electrical circuitry. They build it the way that it's drawn. But we want more control over the lighting area for utilization and safety. So at the end of the day, when you put all these items together, and I'm bad to do this, I'm different than maybe everybody around the table here. I'm not looking at items in specificity as much as I'm looking at, here's the total of all these items. Here's how much money I have allocated to go toward those. And everything else that remains beyond what I have money allocated for, I'm now trying to figure out how I'm going to get this done with only that amount of money. So we hammered at them for the better part of 75 days. Them being the architect and the contractor. That we want these things done, some of these things are required by the fire marshal, blah, 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 this whole combination, and we put it all together. And we wouldn't allow any discussions about what do you want versus what has to be, because I didn't want stuck with any more than what I had to work with. The $32,000 was us, the mayor, me, county attorney, sheriff, jail administrator, digging our heels in that that's all we have, and we're not going to go back to the county commission and ask for any more. You guys get your heads together and figure out how you're going to cover the other cost, whether it be $500,000 or $50,000 or whatever it is. And the result of those negotiations is what you see in front of you. The final day of negotiation, they were about $4,200 apart. And they had stayed there for almost 10 days. And we obviously just kept coming back to them saying the same exact thing. We don't have the money. We're not going to ask for the money. You need to get your minds right. And in the end, they almost split that 50-50, but they didn't. As you can see, the contractor took just a little bit bigger bite out of that apple than the architect did, with the split ended up being $51,000.
$38.41.
And $38.41 from the contractor, and $49,489.50 from the architect. So roughly $2,000 heavier on the contractor than the architect. So that's how we got there. It was a whole lot of discussion as opposed to by the pieces.
Maybe if I could, I'd like to ask a couple of questions, since I wasn't here in the beginning. What was appropriated originally to build the jail? What did the body, first time when they agreed to build it, how much was appropriated?
What we did, Cliff, and I have a breakdown. This might help you all. I sent this out by email, but I know you don't get it there. So let me give out this document, which is this guided analysis of the change orders and items on it.
Sent that out the 13th of February. We just not getting it.
Okay, you get back to mine and I'll correct that. If you take that paper clip off and go immediately behind the sheet, it's got these highlighted items on it. To the sheet that says analysis of change order, you'll be able to see that we originally started with, Cliff, $11,631,500 and added $724,893.54 to it. And that includes change order 16. And that $724,893.54, the county commission has provided $255,561.84 of that amount. The architect firm has provided, and I said, in erroneous to the meeting, I said 240, 230,000, 227, 266, 70. And the items to the additional scope in the center there are things that were not relative to the original project, where the things were done for addition to the sheriff's office and some annex changes. And most of that was paid for with money from the sheriff's department to increase critical report. So we started with 11,631,500. The commissions added 255,561.84. Other sources have added the remaining to get to 724,893.54.
You know, Mayor, I just hope in the future that when we hire an architect here, and he or she comes before, that we explain to them that if it's not drawn correctly, they're responsible for it. I understand that, you know, if we say we want a 2-room jail and we wind up building this body decides to build a 3-room, I understand that. But they need to know, and a contractor needs to know, anything that we bid out, that's what they're going to get.
I concur.
Because this county has got a reputation of change ordering to death. And the public don't like it, and I sure don't. And like I said, as long as I've been in office, or was in office, I never had one. So, but I understand it can happen, but later tonight, I hope to get change that, but that's okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of the items that has been changed approximately 2 years ago pursuant to the problem that Ralph talked about initially there a minute ago, with the change order associated with fire marshal revisions to the building here almost right off the bat, is we now operate under a requirement from our purchasing policies that we do not go to bid on any project that requires fire marshal approval until such time that those plans have been submitted to the fire marshal and were approved. The plans here on the very first one, just for clarification's sake,
But that's what Ralph described.
It is, and
Pre-approved.
that's already been cured now. That's not something that has any further action can't happen here anymore. But just to make sure that everybody understands that situation involving that first change that Ralph's talking about. The project here was always to be in phases, because we knew that we had to build the DA, the kitchen laundry area first, and then demolish the old DA and old kitchen laundry area that was part of the old jail second. When the plans were prepared, had the project been done all at one time, we would not have had to face having to have secondary exits as part of the kitchen laundry DA building that got constructed first. They simply made an error in that regard because they didn't think about it. Even though they knew that the project had to be done in phases, it wasn't like that they didn't know that. Now, what I think that maybe if Ralph talked to the contractor, one thing the contractor wanted to recommend was a better price to the county if, in fact, the county would agree to not doing it in phases. The ones that were here back when this was going on will remember that. And we told them right up instantly we could not agree to that because we had to have the kitchen laundry area and we had to have the DA space ongoing as part of the functionality of our operations. And he even come made a pitch that said he would knock off the price some $250,000 if we would do that. And we still said we couldn't do it. Well, that can's been kicked around 1,000 times since then, but it was not that we started off not doing it in phases. It's that we always were doing it in phases, and the contractor wanted to not do it in phases, and the architect made a mistake in not realizing the secondary exit requirement when that became a standalone building.
Commissioner Davis?
All right. We've asked you, and if you'd have said that 3 months ago, and you've never said that before. All right. Only thing I'm going to be smart on this. We've asked why it's took so long, and Gary Perkins drew it wrong. I don't know how many times Gary Perkins has been brought up that he misdrew these blueprints. Now, don't sit there and tell me nobody said that. I've heard Gary Perkins wanted this, Gary Perkins wanted that. Well, he ain't the architect. If I go build a house for you, Mayor, it's a 3-story building, and you said I want a 2-inch footer, I said, no, it needs a 12. You say, I want a 2-inch. I said, you find you another contractor. That's the same way when you're getting an architect. The architect draws what the state and the specs call for, not what I want. If you want a half-done blueprint, then if you've got respectable, you say, you find you someone else. But I got one more question, and I'm going to shut. But all my arguments is for when Cliff starts Sector 5, he won't take any response, folks. But the changing of the lights, is this all in one room?
2 areas.
Is it all in one room? Okay.
2 areas.
Okay.
One area is in a hallway looking into what I will call the north addition.
Is that where you come up the steps to go in?
Now, you know where the ramp comes down?
Mm-hmm.
If you turn north,
okay,
we're that way.
So it's 2 separate rooms. That's all I care. Fine. I understand.
Mr. Goins?
Yes, do we have an inspector and pay him on this job?
An inspector?
Yeah, do we have an inspector on it if they build it alone?
Other than fire inspection?
No, I'm talking about paying the inspector. Fire marshal on?
Who's oversees their county projects?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, on this one, it's Sheriff Meade and Finance Director.
Well, you just got here.
Michael Brady's the owner's representative for construction manager.
Okay. What's Stan do?
Stan is now, in July, the maintenance supervisor and the construction supervisor for the county.
Construction, like buildings, they're building something?
Different projects.
See over his jail?
Every kind of construction would be. But in any big job, like we had this discussion, I think, last month, you have to have, and this is an option, obviously. When you hire an architect and you have a contract with him, you can have that architect simply do plans. Or you can have him do plans and what's called the bidding negotiation phase. Or you can have him do plans, bidding and negotiation phase, and construction administration. And every big contract that we've ever done here, the architect has always done all 3 facets of that, because he is the guy that most knows how to evaluate the construction against what the plans were supposed to be.
One more question, if I may. I was sitting here thinking. When we approve this, I'm quite sure that, how long can we hold his bond? And the reason I'm asking, I think the sheriff ought to be in jail a while and make sure the water runs and kind of make sure that it's functioning properly before we ever do that. Can we do that, Mr. Coker?
My recollection is it's a 1-year.
Yeah. Okay.
1 year after full possession, they have a warranty period.
Okay. Is that what you understand, Sheriff? 1 year?
Now,
Thank you.
so that I don't let Cliff get misunderstood, that's as it relates to their insurability, Cliff. As it relates to their retainage is something totally different now. That's the money we're actually holding in a bank account for them that takes both our signature and their signature to get that money released to them. And what I would recommend highly is that before you release, quote unquote, the final retainage, notwithstanding the 1 year warranty period for the insurability, that the issue that Susie brought up and any other issues that you have, that you would want to make any claims against their retainage in addition to insurability, so that you don't end up having all your eggs in one basket. You follow the difference there?
Well, yeah, I just call it something different, but that, that's pretty much the same as his bond, right?
No. His bond is his issue through his insurance.
Okay.
The retainage is actually physical money that has been reduced from the project that is setting in a bank account.
I understand that. Who decides when we pay him? This body?
It can be. On this project, I would think it is most appropriate to be this body. I can assure you that the finance director isn't going to sign off on a final release of retainage until the county legislative body and/or the mayor says it's okay to go.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Nance?
On this sheet, Jeff, it's change order number 4. It says re-roof, annex re-roofing. What's there?
That was you remember when we moved the HVAC units that were along this wall out here and down on the bottom to the top of that roof, and we found out the roof hadn't been done in 22 years, I think it was 21 or 22 years, and the commission voted before, since they were going to have to put those units on top of the roof anyway, to put a new roof on it while they were doing it.
With the HVAC.
With the HVAC, correct.
Mr. Brooks?
Right.
Yes.
Could you read the amendment? Or somebody?
Mary?
The amendment is if budget amendment 26 is approved, confirmation for leaches to get money for damage to property.
That's the second.
That's the amendment.
That's the amendment.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, please press yes or no. Confirm.
Voting on the amendment.
Voting on the amendment that she just read.
Okay.
Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. 14 yes, 1 no. Motion passed. Commissioner Jennings voting no. Okay. So, now, any discussion on the main motion?
Mr. Chairman, could I make an observation?
Commissioner Baird?
This county, over the past several years, we've done a lot of projects like school buildings and things like that. That troubles me about going back over the history of some of those things. Someone told me at one point that some of the contractors came in here and bid low just in order to get the contract because they knew there were contingency monies there that would take care of any losses they may have. Now, let me give you an observation about a project that I was part of. At one time, there was a water project And at that point, it was the largest water project in East Tennessee. And it went from Jellicoe supposedly to the Pioneer Post Office. Well, by the time we got to Pioneer Mountain there, somehow all the money was gone. So you had that whole area there that had no water. And the money was spent other places, and I think the reason was there was a lot of rock in that area. They knew that. So they wanted to spend all the money before they got there. So we need to be careful from this point forward in making sure that if someone bids a specific price on a project, we ought to say at the very beginning before we award the contract, this is the terms of the contract. You bid X number of dollars, this is what you're going to do for us. Don't come and ask for any more.
Concur. Any other discussion?
Yes. Can I say something?
Commissioner Goins.
The same way on the project, on the water project at the High Knob, they ran out of money on top of the hill. They posts went from off of the hill, but they claimed they spent all the money. Same thing Ms. Beard talking about. They done the same thing on the water, on the High Knob.
Those clearly failures. Commissioner Higginbotham.
Yeah, Jeff and Mayor, in the near future, I want to make a request. There is a committee for each thing, just like the jail committee. If there's any kind of change orders to be brought up, let's bring that to the committee. If we can, then we can bring it back to the body. It'd be a lot easier than spending an hour and a half on all this.
Glad to have the help.
Well, can I say something else?
Commissioner Goins.
FMS meeting, Mr. Morrow told us that when they signed, he signed it and you signed it, we had to come up with the money. In the last FMS meeting we had. I didn't like that at all, I just tell you I didn't. We should know about a change order before we vote on it. FMS, I'm talking about FMS meeting.
If I can interrupt, I'm going to make the motion when it comes time and appropriate. And any change orders in the future be approved by this body. And that'll stop a lot of this. It'll stop your contractors from saying, well, I know I'm in Campbell County, I can bid and change order it to death. If they know they have to come in, and just like Mr. Baird said there, they need to know when they bid that that's what we're going to pay.
They do know.
And, you know, if I bid to paint your house, and I tell you what it is, that's all you're going to pay me, all you should pay me. But later on, I'm going to make that motion.
I'll be glad to have the help. Commissioner Davis? All right. Please vote yes or no. Press confirm.
Is that on Sue's amendment?
No, that's on.
This is on the main amendment.
Oh, I missed it.
This is a change order.
Let's see.
I'm just telling you, I'm like, you don't do the move.
Does anyone wish to change the vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Let the record show, motion passed, 11 yes, 4 no. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I believe
Commissioner Orr?
It might be appropriate, since we've approved this, to go ahead and make a motion to approve the change order. Am I correct?
I would really like that for the record, yes.
We've done approved the budget in, but we need to approve the change order. Same.
Is that a motion?
It is a motion.
I have a motion to approve the change order. Do I hear a second? I have a second from Commissioner Baird. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote yes or no. Press confirm. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Motion passed, 10 yes, 5 no. Thank you. And I'll say I appreciate the public's indulgence. I believe that this was due diligence to understand exactly what's occurred so we can go forward with understanding on any future projects. I appreciate the Commission's diligence and commitment to it. Thank you. Next item for approval is reports from county officials and departments. Entertain a motion to approve those.
Also approved.
I have a motion to approve Commissioner Bruce, second by Commissioner Orick. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote yes or no. Press confirm. Does anyone wish to change the vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. Motion passed, 15 yes. Next item, other matters. Andy, we have the list from Nashville from the board for approval for road superintendent candidates.
All candidates were approved by the state. Mr. Arnold is in the know to
That includes Mr. Daugherty, Mr. Arnold, Mr. Evans, and Mr. Dilbeck.
correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Arnold withdrew. So the available options are Mr. Daugherty, Mr. Evans, Mr. Dilbeck.
I'd like to nominate John Dilbeck for road superintendent.
I'll second.
I have a nomination for Mr. Dilbeck.
Is that actually on the agenda for tonight? Because we was going to discuss this.
I thought we was going to interview. I brought
It's
it
on
up
it.
when we snowed up 3 weeks ago.
That's on the
Well, I
agenda.
said, my
I
question
thought we was going to set the criteria at our commission meeting. So we just want to go ahead and put someone in tonight.
It's feasible within our parliamentary rule.
It was brought up, if a nomination was to be brought up, it could be voted on.
Okay, I have a nomination. Do I hear another? I have a nomination for Mr. Evans. Do I hear another? Do I hear a motion nomination cease?
Make a motion nominate cease.
I have a motion nomination cease. Do I hear a second? I have a second. Commissioner Ayers? Commissioner Davis? And a second by Commissioner Ayers. Any discussion on nominations? Mr. Attorney, we have 2 nominees. How do you recommend we move forward with?
And vote in whatever order that you wish to proceed.
I'll make a motion to elect Ron Dilbeck as road superintendent.
I'll second it.
Well, we're going to take a vote if we do that.
Well, the motion should say who's going to be voted first, on first.
Okay.
You already got
Okay.
I nominated him first, so I think he would be good. That's what we're saying.
I'll second.
You're not set the procedure that you're going to vote on.
That's what I was going after. We hadn't set any procedure how we was going to do it. You caught me on the side because I thought that's what we was going to do tonight and then set a special call.
I have 2 nominees, and we can set a special call, but we got to do that 5 days out.
It's left for this Friday. I mean,
Why do we?
It's a,
we want to set some kind of criteria who's going to be voted on first. I think that's about
Okay.
it, isn't it, Joe?
I have nominees. I do not have a motion. Joe, can we consider the procedure now?
We sent an email out, and I think it's distributed here, and had the procedure that the commission was required to follow. And it's my recollection that there was going to be some kind of notice and procedure set by the commission before you voted. I'm looking here to see if I can find that, because I was not under the understanding that this was going to be voted on tonight. Does anybody have that with them? Not
Left mine on.
One you got the email.
Don't have mine.
Left one
I can go back to the office here and possibly get it, but I don't have it with me here tonight.
But it's your feeling that the procedure defined called for a special call meeting?
No, I don't think it requires a special call meeting, but I think it did require the commission to set a procedure.
Okay.
And normally we do have a special call meeting. That's when we appoint somebody or back into position. We normally don't deal with that on commission night. We usually have a special call meeting. But this body can change things and move things around.
8 votes change anything.
Pleasure of this body. Commissioner Weldon.
8 votes.
Am I not right? Did we not ask you at the workshop that if it was brought up, that it could be voted on?
I don't remember that being discussed.
Commissioner Jennings.
Mayor, I'm ready to vote. It don't bother me, whichever way you want to do it. But I thought at the workshop we discussed, I thought we was going to interview these people. I mean, I don't need to, but I thought that's what we discussed. And then, if you remember, I said we can adjourn in session and pick it up because we was trying to expedite the matter, okay?
Correct.
But now, I don't care. It don't matter to me. I'm ready to vote either way, but whatever you want to do.
That really
Commissioner Douglas?
That really was in the discussion.
That was in the discussion. We can adjourn in session.
I recall that being discussed with Commissioner Jennings. There wasn't any motion made on it, but that was discussed.
It was during the workshop.
Yeah.
It should be in the minutes.
Okay.
Maybe the very best question we have, Joe, is if he can recollect with specificity, if there was a requirement of law that you have a public notice of time, because I was trying to rack my brain on what that email said, and I remember him talking about it, but I don't remember what, if he had a sign, where he said, this is the process you're supposed to follow, blah, blah, blah. I remember that, but I don't remember whether it had a requirement. Did you, Joe?
We got it from the state.
Yeah.
I would just have to go get it. I don't have it here tonight because I was not expecting to be there. If you want to take a break, I'll go over and see if I can find it.
Okay, can we recess for 10 minutes? Okay. Let's take a 10-minute recess so we can, Andy? For the gallery, what the commission's been provided is a document procedure for filling vacancy by county legislative body pursuant to Public Chapter 871.
I think it actually read that they had to be certified through the state. And it didn't, on this one, they can actually ask for nominations from the floor.
And nobody nominates.
I can't get, my phone's about to die. I have
I don't think that's it, Joe.
Just to say 10 days.
So that there's no question about it, I'm gonna defer for at least a 5-day notice before we deliberate on it. We have nominees. But if there's any question tonight, I don't want to move forward on it without having absolute clarity. So Joe, subject to the Sunshine Law, we're a minimum of 5-day notice, correct?
Sunshine Law says that there has to be adequate public notice. And it does not define what that is, but generally speaking, 5 days has been determined to be adequate public notice. The issue that I have here is item number 3. In addition to the above notice, the presiding officer of the county legislative body shall cause public notice to be given in a newspaper of general circulation at least 7 days prior to the meeting at which the vacancy is to be filled. I think my recollection of the workshop was that you were going to report back tonight who had been approved. That you were going to discuss the procedure by which you were going to begin the vote. Well, I'm not sure under this if it would be 5 days or 7 days. But assuming it's 5, then you could ask next workshop if you wanted to call a special meeting. If it's 7, then you would need to reschedule it for a later meeting.
Well, we have the regular commission meeting in 2 weeks for the month of March.
So there would be no question about it if we did it in that manner. And there would be no cloud hanging over the person who received the appointment.
Okay. So for the purposes of tonight, we can discuss the procedure by which we want to do it, and I'll set it for the commission meeting in 2 weeks. So, Commissioner Weldon.
Could I make a motion that we could ask the nominees to speak at the workshop if they have anything to say before the board?
Certainly. Request the nominees to speak. Commissioner Davis?
Is that mandatory? Ask them if they want to. What was it? Have the motion made?
Ask them if they want to speak at the commission workshop next week.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Bruce?
We said 2 weeks, didn't we?
Well, the selection, the actual vote in 2 weeks, but would you prefer to hear from them that night?
That's fine with me, yeah.
Okay, at the regular commission meeting.
Which will be in 2 weeks. Right?
Correct.
We'll vote on who's going to get the job.
You can hear from the nominees and carry out the vote.
That'd be fine. Be good.
Okay. Commissioner Jennings?
Yes, if we have any questions.
I guess we could ask them at that time, probably.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know that anything would preclude talking with them between now and then, individually.
There would not, and of course, before you vote, you do need to establish the procedure that you're going to follow and how you would vote.
Well, we have the machine set up for a yes/no convention.
I'm speaking of the order in which you would vote.
You have a nomination, you go on the first nomination, vote on first, or they go on, you have to have some kind of...
Somebody has to be voted on first.
Yeah. If you don't set that criteria up front, then you're going to get in here and get cross-threaded.
But then made a motion tonight.
Or if possible, the law does not require that you do it in a particular way. I mean, you could, I guess, ask each commissioner how you wanted to vote, but the way it's been done in the past has been you vote on one and then you move to the next until somebody gets 8 votes.
And the first one with 8 votes is automatically fills the vacancy. It don't go, everyone don't get to be voted on. Am I correct?
Unless you get to the last one and nobody's got 8 votes.
Right. Commissioner Davis?
One of us need to make a motion and see if anybody wants to agree with me.
Set the criteria.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I nominate Ron Dillbeck first. We vote on him first.
I second it.
And we can vote if you want to do that, or, I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Well, I have a motion and a second discussion.
So your motion is to vote on the nominees in the order they were received.
Right.
You don't put the name in the motion. So then when we have our meeting in 2 weeks, right, to do the voting, then we will vote on them in the order that the nominations came in.
There'll be new nominations, what you were saying.
That's what we just done.
The 2 that was nominated tonight.
It can be others.
Well, they ain't nobody else left. Well, there's one more. There were 3.
Already.
See, 3 weeks ago when we had the meeting, when you was recognizing the commissioner, you came to me. And I said, when can we vote on the road superintendent? And you replied, you jumped ahead, I've got their applications, and you passed them out, and we can review them, and then we'll have it ready for the next meeting. So if we have minutes, you know, I'm saying we've had 3 weeks, I've looked up at that. And I'm just saying, we've had 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, you know, if it was on my agenda to vote, if we could vote the next meeting for it. That was my understanding.
You could vote right now, but I do feel like if there's a question about adequate notice. You don't want an official going into office with any question about it. And I feel like, if we don't give it time, that there might be some. But, Joe?
Well, I think if you're going to vote on the procedure tonight, it probably would need to be done after suspending the rules, because I don't think it was actually on the agenda tonight to vote for the procedure. But I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it, but I believe you have to suspend the rules.
Okay.
It was discussed 3 or 4 times about the procedure. So I'm sure that it don't have to be suspended. But that's to be on the safe side there to the safe end.
How many days is, or January the 1st to now, I got to count there, 60-some days, so we've still got plenty of time.
We've got time.
Okay.
For the matter of record, won't they have to withdraw their nominations until such time?
I don't think the nominations are material.
We didn't vote on it.
Reported to the commission that who had qualified, and you're now at the point where
Discussing the procedure by which we select.
the procedure, and then you would go from there.
So that being the case, we need to specify that we would take nominations,
When you would take the nomination,
when we would do it,
Yeah.
and when we would actually.
you need to set the procedure by which you would vote on it.
Yeah. I'm just saying that the clerk, for her purpose, okay, the clerk, because we have the 2 nominees before the commission already, so you need to withdraw that.
I sent the commission here last week some information on the open records act and adequate public notices. It didn't have anything to do with this. And talked about the fact that there's not a set number of days, but it has to be noticed that is calculated to give the public adequate notice of what you're going to consider. And that each one of these may be a little bit different. There's no set standard for it, but that generally speaking, a 5-day after public notice is considered adequate. But if there is a statutory notice in addition to the Open Meetings Act notice, then the statutory notice may require a longer period of public notice. So you've got at least 5 days and maybe 7.
Which would put us at the next commission meeting because of we've got.
Next Monday night, next meeting.
Workshop. Workshop is 5 days.
It's a workshop next Monday night.
I won't be out of town, I'll be here. I got to work, have a quorum.
Joe, I'm not sure this is the one that.
No,
I think the one that you provided us was 5-day. Was it not?
You want me to go over there while you're continuing here and see? I can find it first.
Well, I don't have. So you recommend we move forward or dispense with the nominees?
I want to see what we were told. I'm not sure, but I'm clear on it.
Okay.
Mayor, we'll wait till the open meeting like you suggested. They give us 2 weeks. We know that several are going to be gone next month.
Next Monday.
So the following Monday, which is the regular scheduled meeting.
Correct. Correct. And then the question becomes, what is your procedure for selecting? Do we flip a coin on who goes first, or?
You can decide that tonight, can't you?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I thought we didn't do it.
That's the question. And if we do it at the commission meeting, then there's more than 7 days. So.
You definitely have to have 7 days.
I'll be glad to go over there and get it if you want. And
I feel like we need to set it for the commission meeting and move through our agenda tonight. But I would entertain the thought on procedure. I have a motion. I actually have nominees.
We're withdrawing all the nominees that was made tonight, correct?
Well, I don't have a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a motion to withdraw nominees until such time as we vote in 2 weeks at the commission meeting. So I hear a second. I have a second from Commissioner Ayers. Discussion.
Are we going to vote for the person in 2 weeks, or are we going to vote for the nominee? Can we not put it out as all three for these 2 weeks, and would that suffice?
You certainly can.
You would have to do that.
Okay, I had a motion from Commissioner Jennings and a second by Commissioner Ayers for all three of the remaining nominees minus the 3 remaining. Okay. Any other discussion? Please press yes or no and confirm. To withdraw the nominees and invite all 3 of the qualified remaining 3 qualified candidates to the commission meeting in 2 weeks for the final vote to appoint the road superintendent for Campbell County.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I can, I'd like to make a motion that at the next meeting... Okay.
Is that affecting this vote?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Okay. Does anybody wish to change their vote?
I do.
Commissioner Davis? All right. Madam Clerk, can you reset? Okay, please press yes or no and confirm. Automatically does it. Okay, motion passed, 15 yes. Okay, so.
This was the next one that was on the floor. So I had a motion on the
Mr. Chairman, since our attorneys advised us, I'm going to make a motion, we suspend the rules for setting up the procedure. So since just to be on the safe side if it wasn't on the agenda.
I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules so that we can establish the procedures for selecting a road superintendent. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote yes or no on suspending the rules. And confirm. Commissioner Ayers. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please show the vote. This motion. 14 yes, 1 no. Motion passed.
Now you set your criteria.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, I open the floor for setting the criteria for selection.
I will take a try at it and see if you all concur. I'll make the motion that at the meeting we accept the nominations. They're to be voted on. If there is more than one, we'll let you flip a coin to decide which one we'd vote on first.
That's fair.
Odd man out for 3.
One time, baby.
Flip the coin.
One time.
I have a motion that we would determine the order for vote by coin toss, and I'll flip it. Can I hear a second?
It's a procedure, I'll go along with Mr. Jennings. I'll second it.
I have a second from Commissioner Orr.
Whether we decide in here tonight, and to me, whoever gets the coin toss.
Okay, any discussion?
I know what we're going to do with these 3 of them.
Odd man out first. We'll let them flip.
That's a lot of things. In 2 weeks, we got 3 nominees instead of 2. That's possible, you know. We'll get a 3-headed coin.